Having a pet is no small undertaking. They require continual care that quickly adds up in cost, and they take our time and patience as perpetual children with their own personalities and needs. Dr. Wayne Ahern of Animal Kingdom Veterinary Care Center says it's the human-animal bond that makes it so worthwhile, though, and there are measurable physiological benefits from having a fuzzy companion in our lives. Caring for your furry, feathery, or even scaly friends here in the 52317.
I've been a veterinarian for 39 years. I graduated from Iowa State in 1982, so I've been in practice for 39 years. The first half of my career, I did mixed practice in Northeast Iowa. I did farm animals, I did small animals, I did anything that was presented to me. And then, for a variety of reasons, the farm economy was changing, my interest was changing. It's hard work wrestling with cows and horses. And it's cold working in the wintertime, so I thought I'd come in from the cold and do strictly small animal, which I've always had an interest in. So then I became aware that this practice was for sale in this location. It was Dr. Puffer, Steve Puffer, Puffer Animal Care Center. And I bought it in 2004, and so I've been here for 17 years. And it was very humble beginnings at first. It was just me, and now we remodeled and expanded the building 5 years ago, and now we're up to 5 veterinarians, and we're very busy, and it's just taken off from there. When Dr. Puffer built this clinic in 1992, it no doubt was just in the cornfield. North Liberty was just a hamlet compared to what it is now. So we were very fortunate when we bought it. We caught the wave of North Liberty's development and exponential growth.
What are some more challenging aspects of this profession, and how do you work through these difficulties?
Well, first off, it's just the nature of veterinary medicine that we can't talk to our patients, and we have to figure out what is wrong with them from medical history, from our observations, from lab tests and x-rays and so forth. So it's probably similar to pediatrics in human medicine. You can't talk to the patient directly. So that's the fundamental challenge for veterinary medicine, for just the setup of veterinary medicine. Other challenges would include financial restraints that the owners have, practicality of treatments, like even giving a cat a pill is a major effort. You can do it once or twice, but if you have to do it every day for 2 weeks, it quickly becomes cumbersome. So there's things that we want to do or would be able to do, but we can't do them, either financial problems that the client might have with the expense of it and the practicality of treatments. Other things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis is regulations, government and state and city regulations. That's not any more burdensome than any other business, but we have to comply with employment practices, controlled drug substances, things like that. And we are constantly on the lookout to staff the place and employ people. And again, every place else, it's all in the news all the time that people are seeking workers, and it's hard to find qualified workers. We're especially looking for veterinary technicians that have a license to work as a veterinary technician. So that's always a challenge, to have staffing. We have a very good staff and we work very well together, but there's always turnover from time to time. Another challenge would be a competition from the internet, not only from Dr. Google, which people are constantly referring to, and that's the same thing in human medicine, and even probably auto mechanics too. It's a universal issue now. And then we get a lot of price competition from online pharmacies, and we try to be as competitive as we can. We don't function on the same scale. We don't buy our medications by the semi-load like the big places do. So we compete as much as we can. It's also a challenge to keep up with technology and be as current as you can be for medical and surgical techniques, and we seek out continuing education to improve ourselves all the time. So that's an ongoing issue. And then veterinary medicine is a people business. You're dealing with the people equally than you do with the pet. And the best part about the job is working with the public, and the joke is the worst part of the job is working with the public as well. So we do the best we can to accommodate their needs and their desires, and to be open hours to facilitate appointments so that people can come in after work and so forth. So we do the best we can on that. So that's the summary of the main challenges for us.
What is the most unique and or bizarre animal to come into the clinic?
It's probably the exotic pets like snakes, bearded dragons, some pocket pets like hedgehogs or guinea pigs or ferrets. My personal favorite, the strangest animal or the most unique animal was a chameleon. And it just fascinates me how they can change color. They're just fascinating creatures. And when you research it, they have crystals in their skin that they can change those to reflect colors. So that's probably the most unique one I've ever come across.
It's kind of like the eyedropper tool in Photoshop where you grab a little bit of color from here and just spread it throughout.
So what happens if you put a chameleon in a mirrored box? What color does he change in?
I want someone to run that experiment now.
Yeah.
So for those thinking about becoming pet owners, because it's a big job, what considerations do they need to make beforehand?
Okay, the number one consideration is to realize that it is a lifelong commitment. These are not disposable creatures. If you've taken in a pet, you should expect to have it for their lifetime. It's a responsibility to care for it and take care of its needs, and it's going to cost money, not only just for routine food and kennels and boarding, grooming, training. There's also medical issues, the routine vaccinations and medical treatments. There's also unexpected expenses if they get injured or hit by a car, or they develop allergies, or they develop diabetes, for example, or they have a chronic disease. This can run into thousands of dollars over their lifetime. So it's an ongoing expense. Actually, I looked it up, and the average cost estimate for keeping a dog for a year is anywhere from $1,400 to $4,300 a year, and $800 for a cat. Indoor cats seem to have less problems, but as they get older, they will have chronic issues like kidney disease that take attention and monitoring and special foods. You have to consider the expense. So my advice would be to get pet insurance. You don't have to get the one that's off all the bells and whistles, but get one for more catastrophic accidents and the chronic illnesses. So pet insurance is a good deal, or at least set up a savings account so you're prepared for these things that will happen. And it's just like owning a vehicle. You're going to have maintenance issues over time. Another consideration is how they're going to fit into your lifestyle. And if your lifestyle changes, if you start a family, have children, how are they going to fit into that as they age and as you age yourself? How are you going to care for the pet when you're at work? That has changed recently since the pandemic. People were home more with their pets, and now they're going back to work, and now everybody has to adjust how they're going to react to that. There's a lot of anxiety on the pet's part and on the owner's part as well. So that would be the main considerations.
Given this last year and all of the overwhelming changes, what ways has this affected veterinary clinics? Also, how has that drastic shift affected our animals' lives?
Veterinarians were considered essential workers, so we stayed open. And we were very, very busy during the pandemic. People were home more, they paid more attention to their pets, they sought more care, and they simply got more pets for companionship during this time. So we stayed open with modified procedures. We did curbside service, that we would go out and get the pet, bring them in, gather the history, and do our exam and treatment in here, and then take them back out to the curb. Well, this was labor intensive and time intensive, and it required a lot of phone contact for people to notify us that they were out there. So it was a cumbersome process, but we worked through it, and everyone was real patient with that. Both our staff and our clients were very patient with it as well. Now we're opening it up so people can come into the building and be with us and be with their pet during the exam. That was a major hurdle to get through during the pandemic. We are seeing more issues now that society has opened up more. Actually, our term for it are COVID puppies, that they were purchased during the pandemic and isolated at home. And all of a sudden, we're out and about more, we're meeting more people, the dogs are out, in a new situation, and they have a lot of anxiety and are not coping with it well. So that was a major residual issue with the pandemic. And another one that's going to be when people go back to work and return to the office, all of a sudden the pet is left alone at home. So there's going to be separation anxiety. And that can range from excessive barking to destructive behavior in the home, house soiling. So that can be a potential issue as well. So what do you do about that? You should practice separation beforehand, investigate doggy daycare facilities. There are medical treatments for anxiety. So there's things we can do to help this situation and help the transition.
Flipping to the other side and thinking about how pets aid and comfort us, pet ownership is something that's considered therapeutic. What are some positive effects that our pets have on us?
Well, it's the human-animal bond. Humans are caregivers. We want to give our love and support and care to another creature, whether it's a child, a family member, or in pets. They've become an integral part of our families now. And there are health benefits to pet ownership by reducing stress. They say if you pet a cat, you will lower your blood pressure. It reduces stress, and that includes stress on our hearts as well. A companion in the house in the form of a dog or cat certainly reduces loneliness. And it also makes us more active. We get out and about. We have to walk the dog and get the dog exercise and ourselves exercise. And then it's more social. We meet people and we talk about our dogs, and it's more of a social event too. So that's a great benefit of pet ownership. And when kids grow up with a pet, they learn empathy and care for another creature. They're just an integral part of our families. It's a rewarding profession. It can be stressful trying to make a diagnosis and provide adequate treatment and to care for the needs and desires of the owners. And it's a people business first and foremost here. We're relating to people and accommodating their needs as best as we can. And the veterinary profession, we're trained in many different fields. And that's the beauty of my day, is I can do many things. I can switch from surgery, which can be eye surgery or orthopedic surgery, and then I do medicine cases. It could be dermatology or ophthalmology or internal medicine or behavior. So every day is different. You don't know what's going to walk in the door. So we do our best with the circumstances that are presented to us, and I think we do a pretty good job, a pretty amazing job. And here at Animal Kingdom, we strive to do our best and to provide the best care and the best service to people. It's been a good profession. There's been a lot of changes, and like I said, dogs and cats and other pets have really worked their way into our hearts and into our homes and our families.
Looking to make an appointment? Visit akvcc.com. Learn more about how your venture will be right at home in North Liberty at northlibertyiowa.org. Help others find the podcast by rating and reviewing it on Apple iTunes or Stitcher. 52317 is proudly produced in ICR, Iowa by Jillian Miller, Nick Burgess, Sujit Singh, and me, Derek Blackman. See you next time.